Anytime that we are thinking about Jesus intentionally and sincerely, we are actually doing Christology. Christology is simply the thoughtful and intentional consideration of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Who is this one that we meet in the Gospels? Who is this one who is presented to us as unique and preeminent? So Christology is really something that we're, I think, hopefully all familiar with, although we might not use these terms. Now, something to be careful and to remember when we're doing Christology is that the primary question or questions that the Gospels help us to answer and invite us to engage in, the questions are who and what. So it's who is this one Jesus? What is this one Jesus? But the question that we normally always want to jump to is how? How can this happen? How did this make sense? How does the mechanics of the God-man actually work? And so we have to be careful because the Gospels don't actually give us really anything to go on the how question, but really leaves us to engage sincerely and deeply with the who question. Who is this Jesus? So over the next few videos, we're going to be engaging in some of the Gospel account and then trying to wrestle further into this truth and meet some little twists and turns along the way. So the first one, for example, would be the earliest moment of the life of Jesus of Nazareth. And this is an extraordinary proposal even to start with. It's normally seen as the Christmas event. However, when you look at it, it's just so stunning that it should not be just kept for the Christmas season. The proposal that John gives us is that the Word becomes flesh. The Word became flesh. Those are his words. And that's perhaps the poetic way of saying this. There's far more detail given to us in Luke's Gospel and in Matthew's Gospel of what it means for this Word, the Logos, the second person of the Trinity, to become flesh, to become one of us. What it involves is a young woman called Mary, and it involves her womb. It involves the actual real process of a human life starting and developing in the womb of this young virgin teenager in the ancient Near East a couple of thousand years ago. Which means that Jesus, at some point in his existence, was the same as you and I, which is that he was a zygote. And a zygote is the earliest possible condition of a human life. So it is a single cell. It is the fertilized egg. It is the tiniest version of what it is to be a human being. A zygote is a microscopic reality which will grow to become an embryo, which will grow to become a fetus, which will become the newborn. And if we're to believe the gospel, which is that the Word actually became flesh in a real and substantial way, and that this little one born went through the natural process of growing in a womb the way you did and I did, then we're also to believe the extraordinary challenge that Jesus, in the womb of Mary, had absolutely no self-awareness. Because when you were an embryo and in the womb, and when I was the same in the womb, we had absolutely zero self-awareness. There's nothing we know about ourselves at this point. We have not developed the capacity to even be self-aware. So this is the collision that happens immediately in our theology, where we are asked to believe that the one who is infinite, who knows everything, who is everywhere, who has all power, whose very existence causes everything else to exist, did not know of his own existence. That's the wildness of Christology, that we are trying to understand what it means and who is this one who, whilst simultaneously being the comprehensive God of all things, is also confined to the darkness and seclusion of a teenager's womb and doesn't even know of his own existence. Because if his human experience was true to our human experience, which it has to be in order for him to truly be one of us, then we have to believe that at some point in Jesus' life and development, he had no clue that he even existed. So you can see how Christology pushes us, and we automatically want to ask the question, well, how can that be so? How does that work? Well, we don't know how it works. That's the mystery and the miracle and the faith required in the Incarnation. But what we are told, and this is the beautiful piece, is that upon the birth of Jesus, there's an announcement by angels. So the angels will tell it as it is, right? They are proclaiming the voice and the word of heaven at this point. And they say, glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace. So within simply the very existence of Jesus, the birth of Jesus, there is peace offered to creation. There is peace offered into our innermost being. In the world right now, which feels like it's coming off the rails at a hectic pace and is presenting questions and problems to which we don't feel there are proper answers, we need to remember that cutting through all that noise and all that turbulence is the one who is utterly preeminent over all things. And the gift that he brings to us and to creation, to this world, to the nations, is peace. He is indeed the Prince of Peace. So we've got to be careful not to get too caught up in the question, how does this one who is divine become human? But rather be preoccupied with the question, who is he? What is he for us? How does his life now influence and implement its reign and kingdom and grace upon us and within us? So we'll ponder that until next time, and we're going to dive a wee bit deeper into this again and unpack some more. Till then, peace.